No camera. Oh, yeah.
One is possibly Cassandra Ventura. Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, responds, "We have gathered more information about victim one, even yesterday. I don't want to quote it because it's under seal and should be. It was consensual." Okay. So going back to what I mentioned before, Nima, what's today? The 22nd. They filed this yesterday, the 21st. I think that the defense's letter to the judge about this 20-minute video under seal. So what are they trying to say? That everything that happened between him and, if we presume victim one is Cassandra Ventura, was consensual, and therefore that could not be used by the prosecution as evidence that he is a danger to the public?
Jesse, victim one does appear to be Cassandra Ventura, and I want to raise an important point that just happened there in court. And something that defense lawyers do, they have to advocate for their clients, but I think it's shameful. You saw that Agnifilo didn't defend Diddy when it came to violence against a woman, so they put a female defense lawyer to do that. So that's pretty common in these types of cases. That's why Shapiro started speaking. But we're talking about text messages from Cassie to Diddy. And again, going back to her lawsuit, and I believe her, she said that she was forced to have sex with male prostitutes while Diddy watched, videotaped, and masturbated. So I believe what she's saying, and there's text messages that corroborate her accounts of what happened. She has said to Diddy that I'm a human being, I'm someone's daughter, you beat me, you kicked me. That's all in text messages, and I don't think the defense can deny that.
Oh yeah, that was provided by the prosecution as examples of what was happening, and then also he allegedly threatened to. This is what the prosecution says. Exposed videos of the freak-offs if she didn't do what he wanted. Now, you're hearing the response from the defense.
Okay.
I've got a question from Ashley Glass on YouTube. Will the Law and Crime Channel be covering the case when and if it happens next year? We will do our best, given the circumstances of no cameras in that courtroom. So again, Elizabeth, this is a really interesting back and forth. Is there a possibility the judge will not make a decision today, or after hearing the arguments from both sides, in briefs and today? I mean, it seems probably more likely than not we are going to get a decision on Diddy's bail.
I'd be really surprised if there wasn't a decision. I believe the two prior judges were able to make their decisions pretty quickly. And again, this is a case where time is of the essence. I think both prosecution and defense are going to want to push for a decision quickly for their own reasons. So I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a decision. And federal judges are prone to act faster than state judges.
Nima, I'm going to you. Judge, update from court. Judge Subramanian asks, I don't want to quote from them, but you know the ones I mean. Again, it seems to be this information under seal. And Mark Agnifilo says, we are proposing an independent security firm. There has been mutually regrettable physical conduct going both ways. There was violence by this other person and by Mr. Combs allegedly. You're also getting a preview, I think, Nima, of some of the defense strategy when this goes to trial.
Pretty shameful victim shaming here to allege that Cassandra Ventura was the instigator or violence when we saw just brutality there, right? Her being dragged by her feet, her being kicked, the vase being thrown at her. Terrible, terrible stuff being said by the defense. But again, their job is to represent their clients, so that's what they're going to do. But to attack Cassandra Ventura and say that she was the violent one or the instigator, pretty shameful in my opinion.
It's always a tricky kind of avenue, especially if you cross-examine Cassandra Ventura, how you paint your victim, or alleged victim. It's tough in these sexual assault cases, but unfortunately, you have his life on the line. This is what you might have to do. Whether or not it would turn off a jury or judge, we'll have to see. Comment from Angela Maria. Jesse is devastated about no cameras. You're right. I am devastated. I have no shame in saying that whatsoever. Talk to me about, it's funny. Elizabeth, talk to me about the idea here. What would happen if they let him out on bail and get pretrial release, and then he ends up doing, what the prosecution says he does? He reaches out to witnesses again. He reaches out to victims. I mean, I imagine his bail will be revoked, but does that put the judge in kind of a bad position?
I would imagine it would. Again, the judge is guided by two prior judges saying this is too much of a risk. We can't let this person out on bail. And if the judge takes a chance and says, let's try home confinement, and then that happens, I think that would be devastating. And that would also really affect the potential outcome of the trial. You know, again, a big part of the indictment focused on the element of control and power that he had. So if Diddy is able to exert that same level of control and power over witnesses to try to block potential testimony, that could be devastating for the case.
And by the way, tell me if I'm totally crazy here, Ňima, but you know, his team was pushing for a trial to happen as soon as possible, presumably because he doesn't want to be, you know, in jail for the next 2 or 3 years, risk it, go to trial. They might think they have a good defense. But if he's granted bail today, are we going to see a motion tomorrow, Monday? Let's postpone the trial. Hey, I'd like to be on home confinement for as long as possible before going to trial. Am I crazy to think that, Ňima?
You're not crazy at all, Jesse. And I think the major motivating factor to push this case to trial so quickly is the fact that Diddy is in custody. And frankly, one of the reasons that people on the defense bar, they don't like their clients being in custody is not just preparing for trial, but oftentimes defendants will want to plea just to get the whole thing over with. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen in this case because there's so much time, but you're absolutely right. I can see this case being designated as complex, being kicked out a year or even longer if Diddy is surprisingly released.
And we have another update from court where it seems, I would say, Elizabeth, the defense is not necessarily denying that he's had communications, but they're saying
they said they already brought up
these communications
Diddy,
because they just said
like some of the stuff he did wrong.
Mr. Shapiro, in the LaFontaine case from 2000, the defendant told someone to lie by phone from the MCC.
While he was locked up, they did a raid.
It's actually where Jeffrey
and they
Epstein
took
died.
some of his
but
notes.
In the 𝗗𝗓𝗡 case from 1996, the head of the Gambino crime family, the witness received a kick in the ass. The government does not have that.
You write down
so trying to distinguish maybe what Sean Combs
is that personal to you?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the defense is going to try to push. They're going to say, you know, he's entitled to work on his defense while he's in prison.
Whatever you write
there was
down
no
is
sort of
up for anybody to
obstruct justice or try to sway people.
The
Obviously, that's what they're going to claim. I think it all depends on what's in those notes, which we're not going to know about for weeks on end, and what evidence the prosecution has in terms of what did he say. You know, they're saying that they have intercepted recorded calls of him trying to instruct witnesses about what to say. So, you know, I think it's a tough one.
All right, Ňima, I want to get another question from you before I have to sign both of you off. We have 2 new guests that are coming in a minute. I will take a quick break, but before we do, Ňima, this is a question from Ivy D on YouTube. What is the prosecution's counter argument against it being consensual behavior?
Well, it's going to be the testimony of the witnesses, right? They got to show that force, fraud, or coercion. That's what separates consensual sexual activity between adults. It can be as freaky as the participants want, as long as it's consensual. So they need the testimony of the witnesses.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But also, let's not forget, there's a lot of video evidence here, right? Diddy recorded these videos allegedly for his own sexual gratification, but also to maintain control over the victims. But I really think the game changer in this case,
I really think that if you locked up
alleging the sex
and you write something down,
that takes consent,
all the gods can.
That changes the whole game.
It's open for the gods.
We're going to continue
unless I don't know if you gotta. They should do like a red book for your lawyers, and you know, this is notes for me and my lawyer only. It's confidential. I don't think anything is confidential that you just write down and erase your and look at everything.
And Brian McMonagle.
That's interesting, man. So that's where we at right now so far. Here we go, y'all. P. Diddy's bail hearing. So little by little, we're learning court procedures. Who thinks that Diddy's going to make bail? Or who thinks that they're going to keep him in? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that you to hear? My bad. Do your thing, Tahir. Do your thing, man. I still can't believe this is happening, y'all. This is crazy. Y'all need to check out that somebody actually did a interview on the girl that was trafficked. Too strong. May be released today, sir. I'm not saying yes, but big possibility. It's a big possibility. I want to stand strong on the 2 no's from the other people. We already got 2 no's from two different judges. So as you can see, 2 strongs. We trying to rearrange the studio. I think they taking a break. Too strong, you live or you want to come on and say something so we can test this thing? Hey, Tahir, I heard good things about you. Don't believe it, Tahir. I done lied. It's all a lie. Tahir is the worst partner. Studio look great. Send me a link. Yes, indeedy, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Shoot. How you okay? Invite, copy, mail. God, dog it, I forgot your email again. Oh, I got it. I think I sent it. I sent it to somebody. Oh. Oh, okay. I didn't know you can do that. Tahir is the man. Yep. I think I sent you an invite. Hot dang, nephew. What's up, nephew? I'm learning, y'all. That's all I can say. I'm learning. I'm happy to be learning. I copied it. I know I sent. Yeah, I sent it. I think I sent it to the right. It looked like I sent it to the same people. So we're sitting here waiting for more information to come down while I try to shake this cold and gobble up some food real quick. I just purchased the middle one, Coy. I clicked and I didn't look to see if we pay for the whole year in that. I'm gonna be mad if we did. Bringing in groceries. People kill me when they wearing the mask up under their chin. I don't know what that means when they wear the mask under their chin. When they see somebody that look like they got COVID, then they put the mask on, like that helps. I don't know. I'm about to come in a minute. Take your time, brother. Take your time. You know how we do. But while this is going on, I know we don't want to miss nothing. There was a strong point that they made.
Male defense lawyer to do that. So that's pretty common in these types of cases. That's why Shapiro started speaking. But we're talking about text messages from Cassie to Diddy. And again, going back to her lawsuit, and I believe her, she said that she was forced
on the
to have
world.
sex with male prostitutes.
Ryan, on the world. Hello, everyone. What's going on, Ryan?
So I believe what she's saying, and there's text messages that corroborate her accounts of what happened. She has said to Diddy that I'm a human being. I'm someone's daughter. You beat me. You kicked me. That's all in text messages. And I don't think the defense can deny that.
Oh yeah, that was provided by the prosecution as examples of what was happening, and then also he allegedly threatened to. This is what the prosecution says: exposed videos of the freak-offs if she didn't do what he wanted. Now you're hearing the response from the defense. I've got a question from Ashley Glass on YouTube. Will the Law and Crime Channel be covering the case when and if it happens next year? We will do our best, given the circumstances of no cameras in that courtroom. So again,
judges were able to make their decisions pretty quickly. And again, this is a case where time is of the essence. I think both prosecution and defense are going to want to push for a decision quickly for their own reason. So I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a decision. And federal judges are prone to act faster than state judges.
Nima, I'm going to you. Judge, update from court. Judge Subramanian asks, I don't want to quote from them, but you know the ones I mean. Again, it seems to be this information under seal. And Mark Agnifilo says, we are proposing an independent security firm. There has been mutually regrettable physical conduct going both ways. There was violence by this other person.
One of the things that they had said about the private security, you can't trust them, man. I mean, Diddy has too many people that will help him because they have too much money. Okay, digger, my man, too strong. Has too much money.
Is it working? Can you hear me?
What's going on? Up now, I got to change headphones. Let's see. I'm working.
Hey man, I gotta wear my glass with one arm on them. These I can't see right.
Oh, I know why I don't hear you. There you go. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you good.
You good. What's up? This is Too Strong, baby. Go check his channel out and all that good stuff, man. Too Strong has actually taught me
doing live. I caught you in act.
Hey, you notice that the little duck is gone, so
hey, that means you're doing it big now.
I'm trying to upgrade. I'm trying to catch up with you, bruh.
Hey, if we catch up with each other, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, there you go. Most definitely, man.
Run together. Let's get it.
One of the things that they was talking about is if Diddy was to make bail, dude, what you feel about him getting private security where he could just bribe them? Think about it.
Where he can get private security to bribe who?
No, he'll get private security to supposed to be securing him. To make sure he don't leave, to make sure he don't flee the country, to make sure he stays where he's supposed to stay. This is private security.
I think they're gonna do it, man. They might.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, my question to you is, if he get private security, dude, you can bribe these people.
He gonna be free. That's
right.
Cool. Yeah. I promise I was thinking about that. I said, man, if that happened, he gonna be, they risk him having more freak parties, freak offs or whatever. I mean,
why he out on bail?
He's addicted to it, man. This is sex is an addiction. Some people are addicted like crazy. I guess we all got some addiction to it. But I mean, but it won't. I'm at the point where it don't just drive me crazy. I'm not gonna go do no crazy stuff for it.
Well, it drive me crazy. No, I'm just playing. Nah, but there's a lady, I forgot her name.
Oh man.
And she was talking about you need to get porn sites off. There should be no porn sites, all this stuff she was saying. I was like, that's bull.
Right. Yeah, no.
You know, porn is addictive. Well, it may be addictive. I know a lot of things that's more addictive that should be taken off the market.
Yeah, porn is Diddy addicted to that stuff, man. So if he shot at doing it, he's gonna do it. He gonna have them in the freak off parties. Because you imagine they sitting there making, I don't know, they probably had to pay him like $100, 40, I don't know, between 40 and 100, $50 and $100 an hour. Okay, that's good money, but at the end of the day, you got these bad chicks walking in the door, and it's like Diddy, like, man, well, it's easy for them to say, well, hey, man, I can let you slide if you throw me a couple dollars, man, but I got to go in there and make sure ain't nothing crazy going on because we can't jeopardize this thing. And so,
right,
you want something too? Yeah, man. How that work, man? This is all a setup.
All right, let's see what my man talking about. Let's see what
Our very own Elizabeth Milner is inside that courtroom. She's going to come out a little bit later, tell us what she saw, what she heard.
Okay, now we don't hear because this is not going to.
I can hear good.
Now you don't hear the video. You hear the video?
We're doing right now is providing you live, real-time updates about what is happening in that courtroom. There is reporting coming back, so I want to get into it right now.
Video.
Really interesting about what's happening. Let me bring in criminal defense attorneys Brian McMonagle and Bradford Cohen, attorneys to the stars. Great to have you, gentlemen. So let me tell you about what is happening right now. So Sean Combs' attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, is having a back and forth with Judge Subramanian. I'm going to read everybody the back and forth. So first, defense attorney Shapiro says, we cited the Trump case. Defendants have greater rights to speak than their lawyers. An Instagram post, as well as I don't know if I can. And then the judge says his communications from the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center. Shapiro says he says the prosecution is motivated by racism. So let me just be clear about this. There's a conversation, there's a discussion about what was he saying, maybe on telephone calls to other people while he's been locked up at the MDC. The other question is, was he orchestrating a social media campaign using his family to post things online that might potentially influence a jury? So keeping that in mind, Ms. Shapiro, again, Sean Combs' lawyer, says, this is covered by the First Amendment. Messages they point to are not instructions to lie. There is a barrage of negative media coverage. He has a right to respond to that. The judge asks, why not through counsel? Shapiro says, we're happy to do that. Shapiro says, but we're lawyers. It's not really what we do. Some of these recordings show that he's telling people, just tell the truth, talk with my lawyer. And then the judge says, victim 3, you're saying the communications are fine? And Shapiro says, yes, same on witness 1 and witness 2. The judge says, what about the communications that are missing? Agnifilo, this is Mark Agnifilo, this is Sean Combs' other lawyer, says, witness 1 reached out to Mr. Combs' counsel and asked us for a lawyer. We didn't do anything along those lines because it was an odd request. I don't know the factual answer. The judge responded, how do you know not now? How do you know no? Or how do you not know maybe? Oh, it's how did you not know? That's exactly. How did you not know? And Sean Combs' other lawyer, 𝗵𝗟𝗄𝗄, says, there was a message from Mr. Combs to witness 1. I'll like to give it to you under seal. Prosecutor Foster may know it does not give rise to the level of obstruction. I do not have the actual message. Brian, I'll start with you. A lot of back and forth here. It's about whether or not his communications are a form of obstruction. It's about whether or not him even initiating a social media campaign would be to improperly influence a jury. This all goes to the issue, is he a danger on the outside? Is he flouting the rules inside? He cannot be released outside. What are you taking away from this back and forth I went through?
Well, the fact that they're debating it is healthy for him. It sounds like our judge here is trying to give a real fair analysis to all this. And this is a collision between First Amendment rights, as far as I'm concerned, and some of the requirements under bail, if there should be bail given. You're not supposed to have contact with witnesses. You're certainly not supposed to intimidate witnesses, but you're also able to defend yourself. and marshal a defense and speak your mind as a defendant. And judges always have a very difficult time trying to balance those two constitutional issues. And I think this judge is struggling with it because this is a man who's on trial for his life. His liberty's been taken away from him, and he's fighting back. And that would be something that one would expect of someone who's been accused of heinous crimes. So I think that today is probably, as I think you've described it, really the first opportunity for there to be a healthy debate on why he should be released.
And Bradford, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to that as well. I do want to let you know there was another update where Ms. Geragos, who again is one of Sean Combs' attorneys, says, my client obeys me. For example, on victim 3, he stopped using ASAP and other phone lines. The messages with witness 1 were pre-arrest. He obeys us. He came to New York. In the Bureau of Prisons, when I tell him not to do something, he does it. So in other words, if you have concerns about him flouting the rules, he will listen to us. We'll tell him what to do. What do you think?
I think that's an argument that I've often made, and I think a lot of defense attorneys make, in terms of that our clients will listen to us if we tell them what to do and what not to do. And in certain circumstances, you have clients that have not been in a situation like this before, where they're in custody, where they are getting a barrage of allegations against them. Some may have some.
It sounds like they might be considering it.
Some may not. And you've seen that over and over again in this case. There have been reports of different things that went on and different allegations against Sean.
You went out. I can't hear you now.
My bad. I had the mic off. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you say? You agree, bro?
I see it, but yeah, I do got it right. I gotta go pick my kids up. But it sounds like they're considering it, man.
Yeah. I wasn't even paying attention. I'm over here thinking about. I got 2 pair of headphones on, so I'm like, I need to be able to mix what's coming out of this computer into a mixer, but let it keep going to y'all. That's perfect. But also, I need to be able to hear what's coming out this computer. So I need to hear both computers mixed in 1 pair of headphones, because I can't be sitting here with 3 pair of headphones on.
Man, you got a lot of stuff going on over there, man.
Yeah, because I gotta keep the music side going, because now that I'm free from this job, I want to get in here and do some music, man, and get back to my music. So if I can do 4 or 5 hours of straight YouTube and to keep the YouTube flowing, then that give me all the rest of my day to do what I want to do, which is music.
I know that's right, man. I'm gonna get there one day, man, when I grow up. So
yeah, right. Big money grip. That channel pumping, man.
Man, hey, man, we gotta hook up again. But man, I wish I could stay longer, but I gotta go get these kids and
yeah. I'm glad you came on, man, because this gave me a opportunity to test things out and everything.
Yeah, I'm your test guy, man.
Yeah, there you go. Mr. Tester.
Appreciate it, man. Much love to the channel. All right.
All right. Most definitely, man. Peace and love.
All right.
Combs, that they have then found out these are just rumors and they're not true. I think that it's not a bad thing when a PR company or even when a defendant takes it on himself to have family members talk about the good thing that he's done in the past and the charitable things that they've done in the past. When you have a case like this, where they are just every day, there's something that is coming out, something that is leaked by either the government or a party that's involved or someone that's interested in the case, where it is affecting, that could have affected a jury. I think that, that release of that Cassie tape, and I keep going back to that release of that Cassie tape, I think the tape was released because they knew that she was going to be somewhat blamed for the behavior that happened, that they would know that she would participate in these different things with different individuals, and they wanted to make sure that was cut off at the pass and essentially make her a victim and not a co-defendant. And I think that's why that tape was eventually leaked by whatever party that leaked that tape. A lot of not going back to that. No one's really discussed how that tape has come out, and I think it's an interesting thing. And especially when you have a judge that's interested in your story, and you have a prosecution that is interested in why he is making these, these PR moves on social media, I think it all comes back to that tape. And I think that's their strongest, quote unquote, strongest piece of evidence in terms of their star witness to say, hey, this guy's a bad guy. I do like the fact, and I will agree with Brian, that the fact that they're having a conversation, that the judge is engaging them, is always a good sign. Is it, the end all be all that he's going to grant him bond? I don't know. I think this is a tough hill to take. I think it's an uphill battle whenever you have an individual that's facing the type of time that they're facing and the type of allegations to get a bond. Certainly the bond package is pretty extensive in my opinion. A $50 million bond is nothing to sneeze about.
And to go into that, about one of the areas where I think Judge Subramanian seems to be receptive. He actually told prosecutors early this week, be prepared to talk about this. It's coming up right now. And Brian, I'll ask you about this. So this Ms. Shapiro, who's Sean Combs' lawyer, says, I submit the charges in the J.Abercrombie case are worse than here. They allege an international sex trafficking business. They were raped and forced to engage, and I'm not going to say, but in a certain kind of sex acts. And by the way, the argument here is, and this is what the Judge Subramanian said, is distinguish prosecution, why it is Sean Combs, after putting forward a bail package, as we said, $50 million.
I'll make a cable in a minute.
Security firm, limited visitors, visitor logs, no internet use, no phone use. Why is he denied bond when you have Mike Jeffries, the former head of Abercrombie & Fitch, who is just arrested and charged with sex trafficking? Why is he out on $10 million bail? And by the way, the prosecution responded earlier, and they had a back and forth about this. He's 80 years old. Sean Combs is 55 years old. Sean Combs is charged with racketeering. He's not charged with racketeering. Sean Combs has alleged instances of prior violent behavior, not the instance with Mike Jeffries. But here you're seeing, Brian, where they're saying, we actually think the Jeffries case is worse. What do you make of that?
Well, it's brilliant. And I think that's the road they have to travel, because it's precedent. You're not supposed to have different rulings for like-minded cases. Disparity in treatment is always frowned upon in the federal courts. And here they have a significant public interest case where bail was set at $10 million by agreement. It wasn't debated over. The government agreed to it. Now we come over to Sean Puffy Combs' case, and they're objecting to 5 times that amount for someone who I don't believe has ever been convicted of a federal crime or a felony. I could be wrong about that. And they're putting restraints in place that make the previous bail package pale in comparison. So they're right to make this argument. It's precedent. It's precedent within that jurisdiction. And I think the judge is going to look hard at it. You've now got 2 rulings that have gone against him. So he's got to look at those rulings and those judges. But he's also got a situation where the government has agreed to bail in a situation that's, if it's not as bad, it's pretty darn close by accusation.
Mm-hmm. And look, I think they could, look, it's also a different court. This is a different, this is the Southern District of New York. That was the Eastern District of New York. But even you put that difference aside, this seems to be one of the more compelling arguments put forward by the defense. Bradford, we're also taking questions, by the way. So anybody who has questions about this case, submit them on YouTube. If you have questions about the hearing, submit them. We have this interesting question from Sahara Useri on YouTube. Why did Combs get a new judge to begin with? It's interesting, right? Because I believe we had a district court judge or a magistrate judge, then a district court judge, now Judge Arun Subramanian. Why do you see a reassignment of a case like this? Why is it now in the hands of Judge Arun Subramanian? Why do you see this happen, Bradford?
Well, on federal cases, we always appear to begin with in front of a magistrate. That's usually the first person who hears the case, if it's a bond issue and or if it's even a preliminary issue. A lot of times court judges will give magistrates the power to rule over different kind of motions to suppress and motions to dismiss. But we always go in front of a magistrate that's associated with the judge. And then generally you then go to the judge that's going to have your case. It just depends. Sometimes you go to a temporary judge until it gets assigned. A lot of times judges don't have time for the type of case that it is, or they might not have the schedule that will be that will behoove a trial in a certain period of time. I believe that this trial is being set for April, and it might be the other judge that was assigned already has a case that's set for April. That's not uncommon. I don't see that as like unusual. We've seen that in many cases. I've had many cases where judges have changed at the beginning of the case. It's usually unlikely that at the end of the case that you have a judge that'll change once they've heard motions and once you've done discovery and things of that nature. But I don't find anything of that unusual. Magistrates are always common. You always go in front of a magistrate first, and those are usually randomly assigned. And then a judge is randomly assigned, and then another judge can take over at any time. It's not that big of a deal.
And by the way, I wish we had cameras in the courtroom, but based purely on the arguments that we're seeing and have seen with Judge Subramanian, I feel confident to say this feels like a very fair, well-reasoned judge. The way he was pressing the prosecution, the way he's been pressing the defense, it's really something to take note of. And that's kind of the judge that's exactly the kind of judge you want in these cases. There's a question that we have from Samian on YouTube. I'm curious, Jesse, why did the prosecutor not reference the R. Kelly trial? They might not have referenced it today, but it was in their filings. I think it was even in the very first bail filing. They referenced the R. Kelly case. They referenced the Jeffrey Epstein cases as why it would justify bail for Sean Combs. Here's another question. I'll throw this over to you, Brian, from 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗚𝗏𝗓 on YouTube. If Diddy gets out of bail, does that mean that he gets out immediately, like this hour?
It'll happen pretty quickly. He'll have to go back. Usually you have to go back to the detention center that you're being housed in. There's some paperwork that has to be done, but I would think it would happen pretty quickly. It would be tonight. Unless there's some other snafu that occurs in trying to get it done. But for a high-profile case like this, they'll move quickly on it. All the eyes of the world are watching it. I think it'll happen pretty quickly. It'll certainly happen, I think, sometime tonight, if he rules tonight. I mean, that's, some judges recognizing that there could be an appeal of this ruling will take the time to issue a written opinion. And that would be the only reason I would think this judge would hesitate before ruling in this case. He seems, as you've described,
man, I'm getting nervous, to be honest.
And thoughtful guy.
There's no way in the world.
And some of those
they're gonna let him out.
More thoughtful and more
God, yeah, that's a
issue
weird
written opinions, which he may do in this case.
We have another update.
That's
from
weird
court.
to think that.
Ms. Shapiro, again, defense counsel for Sean Combs. While in Jeffrey's case, one defendant is 80 and the other is 71, Mr. Combs is 55. I hate to say it. It's not that young, because that was one of the things the prosecution said. Like, you're dealing with an 80-year-old. Yeah, you're dealing with an 80-year-old. You're dealing with an 80-year-old. He's 55. He's much younger. He's more of a danger. The judge says the U.S. suggests he won't follow conditions. Shapiro says these conditions are more restrictive than in the prison. Again, I kind of laid out what some of the conditions are. Bradford, your thoughts?
Great question. I mean,
I
we could do it that way.
That one guy's 80 and one guy's 55.
But I want to make sure I can play the recording studio. In fact, let's do that. You want to do that? Let's do that.
Because he's 80. It's like he only has so much time left. Anytime you give an 80-year-old is going to be a life sentence. So if the guy gets 5 years and he's 85 years old, that's not that young. So the argument itself is not great about the age. I think the stronger argument is maybe that in the RICO charges, they're charging some sort of violent behavior. That's probably a stronger argument because the Abercrombie and Fitch CEO doesn't have a history of alleged violence or participation in violence. But the allegations of the sex trafficking are very, very, in my opinion, are worse for the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. And it's just, it's funny that it just by happenstance, these cases happen together. If it didn't happen together,
why is everyone spiraling over YouTube banning ad blockers? Like, chill, guys, just use Pi. It's a free Chrome extension. That's actually
just so happened coming up on this fly out where the judge says, "Hey, that's not going to work. Florida's not going to work. I need something else." And it's like, "Yeah, I got an apartment on this paper." I think that you have to lean very heavily on them. This guy can make a run for it at any time. And it is a hats off to his defense. He could have made a run coming up with those things on the fly and being able to modify their argument that way. And I honestly think when a judge starts asking questions like that, he's very strongly leaning towards granting a bond.
Well, it's good when you're multimillionaire. You could just, where am I? Where's this case happening? Yeah, I got a property around the corner. Let me ask you this. So this was brought out by the prosecutors earlier on, where they said, okay, want to talk about the security.
So then that brings me to my.
So they say, because the judge asked, what are we talking about? They said, what type of security team? He's suggesting a co-conspirator, one whose phone was taken only the day before. The second suggestion, was a defense investigator in this case. That investigator has been out contacting witnesses. Essentially, they work for him. So the reason I bring that up is because the judge just said the government is saying Mr. Combs would be paying these people. It comes down to trust. 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦, again, Sean Combs' defense counsel, says it's a different relationship. There are professionals that are only going to be in his life for 8 months. It's a high-profile case. He goes on to say he's been in jail 66 days without a laptop. He only got one a few hours ago. What is unique here is to have waited 9 weeks to get a laptop into the MDC. The judge says the solution is for you to come to me. We can call these hearings, which get things done. Okay, so that's a separate issue about what the resources he has. The question, of course, Brian, is can you trust the security team? Prosecutors say, A, they have the connections to him, but B, if they didn't, he has a way to compromise people. If he's in prison, if he's in jail right now at the MDC and he's using inmates' PAC numbers to make phone calls, that's the question. Can we trust the security team? What do you make of that?
As my brilliant colleague just pointed out, the way to go would be to make sure that you explain to the court that you've got a team that is beyond reproach. And I'd be a little stunned if that's not the case. They should have former FBI, former New York police, somebody that when the judge hears their bona fides, he's going to say, you know what, this is somebody who's got some intellectual honesty. This is somebody who's not going to risk their reputation for a payday. And so I would expect that if the judge does release him, he's going to want to see that. He's not going to want just somebody on this guy's payroll to be overseeing him, during these 9 months, I can assure you. So I'm surprised if that's not the case.
Right.
And knowing Mark, as I do, who's a preeminent lawyer, they'll make sure if they've already provided a team, they'll get a better team. If that's an issue with the judge.
Let me ask you this, Brian.
Jesse.
I know y'all can hear me coughing, but can you hear the
We
music?
got from one of our YouTubers, Floss Daily. Who pays the security company? Diddy's paying it. Is that a conflict? I'll allow either one of you to address that. If Bradford, you want to address that?
Good, great.
Sure, yeah,
If
because
you
I was
want to
gonna
call
add
that
in,
music.
it's an absolutely great question. And what I do is to kind of take out the stench of any kind of impropriety that you think could go on. I figure out, okay, if it's 24-hour security for 8 months, it's going to be $250,000, $350,000, whatever it's going to be. And I instruct my client that
y'all can hear the music.
That money
Let
in
me
my
know.
trust account,
Let me know if you hear the music, y'all.
a company is hired to pay them separately from just the defendant. So they're not relying on the defendant to get a paycheck. It kind of takes that sting out. I mean, there's always going to be a sting of, hey, I'll give you an extra $1,000 if you do X, Y, Z.
That's it. All we need is a split.
Kind of get rid of that.
I ordered a split. I didn't order a mixing board.
But you can take out one of the links in the chain and say they're going to be getting their paycheck from either ADP or they're going to get the paycheck from my law firm, but they're not going to be relying on the defendant to get paid. They can't be threatened like, hey, you're not getting a paycheck unless you let me use your phone. A lot of times,
all right, now that we got 10 people watching,
in these situations where a judge is asking about, how is this going to work with this 24-hour security, and they're going to be behooving to him because he's the one who's paying it. I think it takes out one of those links, and it also benefits the court's decision. It eases their mind on that issue.
Brian, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to that, but we also have another update from court.
You
Mark
definitely came up
says,
with that
I have a
idea.
whole presentation ready about the tape, but if you've got enough,
you still
I can save everyone 15 minutes. The judge says, I have reviewed it. Who is here from pretrial services? Pretrial services comes forward and says, we maintain conditions are insufficient. The judge says, have there been other cases with private guards? Pretrial services says, not that I'm aware. What do you think, Brian?
Happens all the time. Pretrial services, they do a great job, but, they're a government entity. And in a case like this, the default position always for pretrial is going to be detain. It's easier for them to do that. This judge knows that.
Wow.
One of the other things that came to mind while I was listening to Radford was, I wonder if the government didn't do themselves a disservice by this untimely search of the cell.
Yeah.
Where they shook his cell down. They allegedly looked at privileged materials. That's a no-no. And I don't think this judge was all too pleased with it. And I think he started doing the math in this case and started thinking to himself, it may be easier for everybody, including the government and the prison officials, if we let this guy pay a lot of money for a private security firm to keep him from fleeing, and we'll get this case tried in a timely fashion. I won't be running into court every week or two with a complaint about discovery. He didn't get his computer. We've got so many terabytes to go over. We don't have the ability to defend. It puts so many issues into a case that can be easily resolved with agreeing to the bail package. So it was just another thought.
And
Yeah,
Brad,
I don't like that
Bradford,
thought.
jump in on that.
I don't like that thought.
Yeah, he's
at all.
100% correct. So first of all, there's been cases in New York. I've had cases in New York where we've recommended private security and got granted private security. And around the country, when you look at these high-profile cases, there's been many, many cases where private security. One of them is NBA YoungBoy, who had a case in Louisiana. He had private security as part of his bail package in Utah. Kodak, who I represented, he had a private security as part of his bail package. It's happened many, many times. And I think the number one takeaway that Brian is so right on is that this searching of his jail cell was so very stupid by the government, and they just can't help themselves. Like it's really sometimes, they can't help themselves. Even when they have cases that they feel are good, they want more.
Just to be fair, they said this sweep of the MDC was it was comprehensive. It wasn't just aimed at Sean Combs. His defense team says it was a pretext, but just to give you the other argument.
I have a very cheap bridge for sale for you. Listen, I think that this was I think it was a target. I find it very hard to believe that it wasn't. You had a specialist that was there that normally is not there. He's taking pictures of items that have nothing to do with what they're searching for, phones and drugs and things of that nature. I find that very hard to believe. And it just is shocking sometimes when you look at the government, when they have so much power, they have so many assets that they can use to obtain guilty verdicts, and they want more. They always want more. And in this case, I think this bit them in the behind. I think that the only reason this judge is being so I don't want to say he's being so reasonable. The only reason that this judge has considered some of these arguments, I think, and they're not falling on deaf ears, is partly because of the prosecution's dream that this was just, this was something that was going to happen, and we didn't mean to get his notes. And
that's a good
even
question.
Though we had his notes, we had a team. We put up a Chinese wall. They have every excuse in the book. But once you taint a case with something like that, it's very hard to regain a judge's trust. And I think that's why a lot of these questions are being asked of the prosecution. And in addition to this guy.
There's a big secret being hidden from drivers. So listen up before this video gets removed. If you're being insured by any of these companies, you're being taken advantage of. My sister works for the DMV, and she gave me this confidential website. If you're paying a lot of money for car insurance,
after counsel was retained.
That's a good question to hear. I wonder how much of this terabytes of data they went through, and I wonder, did they find anything that was like worthwhile saying, dude, it's a whole different case, or we need to keep him in jail? I wonder if they have seen anything worth some, like, God dang, because that tape of Cassidy getting kicked down the hallway was terrible. But some of these people are saying it's even worse.
The Instagram post was planned.
We also got to invest in no ads running on a live stream too.
And for a week using Contact Me ASAP and other inmates' codes. Really, really interesting there about that, basically suggesting that Sean Combs is engaging in obstruction. I wanted to ask you, we have a question from one of our viewers that I think is fascinating. And Brian, I'll throw it to you. Are there any additional bail conditions the judge could impose on Sean Combs? Could the judge place Sean Combs under the supervision of the federal probation office?
Oh, snap.
You know, I have never seen that being done. I mean, you know, anything that the probation office could do would pale in comparison to what the defense has already submitted. You know, you put somebody on a bracelet. I mean, they don't have the resources to have 24/7 guards in the U.S. probation department. More importantly, that's not their role. So, fair question. Why not have the feds?
That's true.
Protect him and police him while he's out. It's not the way the system works. And more importantly, I think to all of this is, you know, there
yeah, you're right. On the world, rain on the world. He put people in cages, man. That girl that did that interview with Lonnie B said that she was in cages with other kids, and then she realized that they was taking the kids out and she was the only one in there. Sad, man. Again, Rain, I was actually telling people that imagine in order to get into the music industry, and once you got in, the secret started getting bigger and bigger to the point that you can't get out. And you actually become accustomed to this. Yeah, thank you, Tahir. You can switch, all you gotta do is switch it to the main channel, and the commercials will stop. But that's the only thing I'm thinking is this: if they keep Diddy in jail, more people will feel secure to come forward. If they keep him in jail, we need a big change. And I think that's another reason I think they're going to keep him in jail, or they might let him out and still burn him. They might let him out.
has to be an ability for somebody to defend themselves.
Yeah.
And what the prosecuting team seems to be relying on here is his efforts to really defend himself.
You want me to do it to
He is
here?
looking for help.
I
He
think
is
that,
looking to try to
go ahead.
line up
Go ahead.
witnesses, to marshal a defense, to reach out to allies, to get friends and family to get on social media so he can start not winning the battle, but just try and making the landscape a little bit easier and more even. And so I
think
don't
if they
know
let
what
him,
the judge is
they
gonna
let
do,
him out.
But I would tell you, constitutionally and legally, the easy thing.
I think if they let him out, stop sharing for right now. You got to stop sharing, and then refresh, I guess. Wait a minute. Then you can come over here and switch accounts and go to the main account. That way, now when we go here and hit share screen, up right here. Now it'll now no more commercials to play. Macadaw, what's happening? Did he deny bail again? Yeah. I think if they deny the bail, next thing you know, Diddy will be more of his accusers will come forward. I think. Did y'all hear about the girl? I don't know her name. I would love to hear her name. She was in the picture that got trafficked. This whole case is almost really about her. This whole case is not all that much about Cassidy. This whole case is about that girl that got trafficked, that was put on the she was put on the Puffy's private jet, and flown and 𝗟𝗓𝗡 and all this type of stuff over and over again. She also stated that she had to go to the hospital to get an operation, and it was this big long, they thought it was part of her intestines. They pulled out a long dildo out of her that went all the way up into her stomach, so to speak. That's crazy. She said that Diddy's girlfriend, I'm trying not to say any names, assisted and beat it, abused her and bruised her. But also she was saying that is that the one? I'm getting the information mixed up now. I think she also said that Bill Cosby, yeah, she said Bill Cosby put a cigar out on her private part. Actually put the cigar out on her private part. That's terrible, man. That is horrible. So with all these allegedly allegations going around, I mean, dude, if it was not so many powerful, rich millionaires on those tapes, if they see a lot of powerful, rich millionaires on those tapes, I would not let them out on bail, because you can sell your jet, you can give up $50 million, you can sell your houses, whatever the case may be. Those friends are going to get together and get him up out of there to save their own behind. That's what I think. English, I'm also confused. What? You're right. She named Will Smith and Denzel Washington and others. Will Smith, Denzel Washington, all these people got big time money. I mean, they sitting on millions of dollars that they can shove out like emergency money, man. Like, I know I've been doing this, so if I gotta pay lawyer fees, I got $10 million in this, under this pillow, and I got another $20 million under this pillow. Then I got $30 million under this pillow. And I don't know, man. Like, when they said, the last I checked on Kevin Hart, they said Kevin Hart is worth over $200 million. Kevin Hart is worth over $200 million, man. So, oh man, I'm thinking, dude, if he's worth $200 million, what about all the millions of dollars that he's not reporting? Lee is, what's up? I think he'll run away or kill witnesses, go on doing the same he been doing in the country. You're right about that, dear. How you doing? I'm so sad to be reporting this stuff, but I know one thing. You're right. I think that how you doing? I'm new at this, y'all, so this is fun. I really think that, can you imagine P. Diddy, Usher, anybody when they first start off, like Justin Bieber, when you first, and this is in the Think and Grow Rich book. This is in the Think and Grow Rich book, y'all. Check this out. When you first get around, they were talking about crime, whatever it is, animals. If you're not used to being around dogs, it can be, you can put anything in this situation. When you first get around it, you're afraid of it. But if you stay around it long enough, you get, you warm up to it. Then you stay around it long enough, you get accustomed to it. You get used to it. Then you start dealing in it yourself. Then you start embracing it. Then you realize that this is part of your life. This is the way life is. You got the have and the have-nots. I'm a have, so I'm gonna take advantage of the have-nots. And it's a shame. Will Smith said it. Will Smith said that. Will Smith said this. You know, it comes a time in your life where you got so much money that you can buy anything you want. And it's no happiness in it. I can go to the car dealership right now and buy a new Rolls Royce. I can buy 5 of them if I want. I can buy the whole dealership if I want it. I mean, I'm not talking about just the cars. I can buy the whole dealership, the company. When you have money like that you could just buy anything, you start wanting something that money can't buy. And one of the things that people have said was the taste of human flesh, or being able to spend money to actually do whatever you want to a human being. Stuff like that. I don't want that type of money. I want enough money to pay off all my bills, all of them. And I ain't talking about making a lot of new bills. And I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to help people that would never even dream of having help. Forget all the tape and the paperwork and everything. This person needs help right now, today. I take the money out the bank, give it to them, buy all the food, go with them, stuff like that. Amen. That's what I want to do. And that's what I'm going to do. The channel has definitely taken a turn finally after 4 or 5 years of working hard, Liz. Working hard, Rain. We've been working hard. We've been up every day working hard as we can. So now I got a cold too, y'all. I got a cold. So we have a fundraiser that I'm going to be pouring so much time and energy into it, because I realized that I don't want 4 or 5 cars. I want 2 cars. I want me a everyday running around Tesla, and I want a top of the line Tesla. That's it. I don't want no car with an engine in it. I got a cold, Mike, not you. To hear them quote my cold all the way in Pakistan. My partner's in Pakistan. He's a Pakistani. And yeah. I want to be able to do fundraisers and bless people that deserve it. I need a car. See, boom. You need a car? Boom. Here you go. I want to be able to do stuff like that. You need a car? Fine. Let's bless. Let's do something where we'll raise some money, and whatever we raise, I'll match it.
Where the government's concerns are alleviated, to stop communications, to prevent the wrong kind of communication.
Does that mean I'm talking to us here?
A lot of the listeners that have asked questions are seeing, justice play out here, and what a difference a judge makes. There are a lot of judges I just listened to Bradford's arguments.
Most
Brilliant.
What kind of car you want to get, right?
And say, thank you very much. Have a seat. Denied. This is one of those judges that listens. This is one of those judges that balances. And what a difference a judge makes. And he could very well, if not today, Monday, make a decision that's favorable to Mr. Combs.
So speaking of which, we have another update. Mr. Rico, again, his attorney says he has access to cell phones in the MDC, but not under our conditions. He fights, he kicks, he makes phone calls. This can be addressed. Thank you. Judge says we're going to get a decision out prompt next week. Bradford.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think that's the smart thing to do. Listen, smart judges don't just make decisions off cuff, right? They go back to their chambers. They think about it. They have very, very smart clerks that know the law, that give them case law to back up their reasoning. And, judges sometimes have gut feelings when they've been on the bench for a long time, and lawyers too. We've been doing this for a long time, and you have a gut feeling what's right and wrong, and then you got to find the case that tells you that you're right. So I think that it's smart. I think that smart judges put out smart orders because they know they may be appealed, or they know it's going to be publicly read, and that's just what they do. So I'm not shocked that he didn't make a ruling from the bench. Just as Brian said very early on, he wouldn't be surprised either that, you know, the judge is going to take some time and do a written order, because that's what good judges do. Good judges do written orders. They don't shoot from the hip, and they don't automatically say one thing or the other. They think about it. They sleep on it. And I don't know how many times I've been in a case where I'm feeling like, oh man, this judge I feel like they're ruling against me. And they say, hey, listen, I'm going to get a written order out, you know, by the end of the week. And then they go back, they read the case law again. They find new case law. They find, you know, all kinds of different things. And then they rule in my favor maybe for a completely different reason than was even discussed at that hearing. But that's what really differentiates great judges from just guys that are, you know, that have been on the bench for maybe 30 or 40 years, and they're kind of going through the motions, and they know what to deny and what to grant and why to deny it. And they just kind of,
I think the guy's gonna make it. The judge gonna make a decision in a week.
When you get a judge that is fairly new, it's usually very refreshing, their take on certain issues.
I agree. This is a judge that's very refreshing. I think he's really carefully considering both arguments. As you said, right now the latest update is that he wants those letters Monday. We'll make a decision next week. This could possibly be Sean Combs' last weekend behind bars. We will see.
Contribute to the fundraiser, most definitely.
Gentlemen,
thank
let me
you
tell
so
you,
much.
Brian McMonagle, Bradford Cohen,
Most definitely.
thank you
Next
so much
week,
for your brilliant insight, your analysis, your generosity with your time. Let me just give you one last suggestion. Imagine
I sure hope so.
Teaming up. My gosh, what a power team you two would be together. So let me just leave you guys with that.
I'm calling him now.
Yeah, you guys really should. My gosh, it's two brilliant minds.
I have long admired Brian's work, and you know, it's always great to be on with individuals that have been in the trenches, that have actually tried cases, that have been doing this for a long time, because warriors generally think alike. And it's always good to be on with someone like Brian.
That's
high compliment coming from you, my friend.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. Elizabeth Milner is coming out of that courtroom. She's going to give us a live update about what she observed. What she observed of Sean Combs, his family, his attorneys, give us insight into that courtroom. Stay with us here on Law and Crime. We'll be right back right after this.
Wow. So here, I like that look right there. That's amazing, man. I wish you can turn the volume down. I want to hear it, but yeah. We don't need to hear the street sound. That's amazing, man. I'm trying to figure out what to do fundraisers and stuff. And I want to do it there in the Philippines. So no decision yet, y'all. He said next week, so that don't mean Monday. He wanna marinate on this thing. That's not I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. I might be going up there, man. Should I go up there? If I went up there and went live, dude, gotta be crazy. I should call Tom Slick and see if he want to go up there with me. If I had one person to go with me, he got this dog he got to take care of, man. My dog, man, I can't leave my dog that long. Honestly, I really think, and I'm gonna just say the majority of the world, the majority. How far is it? It's a 4-hour drive to get to New York. It's like a 3, maybe 3.5 hour drive if no traffic to get to New York, stay in a hotel. I think the majority of the world wants Diddy to stay in jail and never come out. I mean, even though it's not a crime to have Robert, what's happening? It'll be on point. Man, right now, oh man. Right now, I would love to do it, but everything is happening a little too fast. I'm a little older than what I used to be, man, because I tell you what, when 9/11 hit and them airplanes hit, me and a buddy of mine jumped in the car and we rode up to New York. Believe that. That's back in the day. I move in a minute. Like, you want to go up there? Shoot, I go. Mike, you want to go? Yeah, let's go. How much money you got? We got enough for gas and maybe 2 cheeseburgers on the way back. Let's do it. And we rode up there, man. But by the time we got close to New York, period, it was bumper to bumper traffic. I'm talking 3 hours, 5 hours. When we decided to come, man, forget this. We're going to turn around, go back home. It took 3 hours to get to the next exit just to turn around. So, yeah. You definitely get rid of the cold first. But right now, I'm cruising. Here's what I'm about to do. I'm going to cruise to just get some things together first. And I think this summer, y'all, I swear, y'all, this summer is going to be my summer to do a whole lot of things. I just got to straighten up some things first. When the cases start, I think that I'm going to find a couple of buddies and we're going to go up there to New York. I might fly up there. I might actually fly up there. Me and Too Strong, we might go up there. We might meet right up in New York, set up our little videos and stuff, and get whatever we can get to report it back to our peoples and stuff. Yeah. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. And also one of these days I'm gonna clean up, y'all. I swear I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna have this place looking real nice. So take your time and do it right. That's what we're trying to do this go around. Thank you. Most definitely, Robert. That would be cool. Yeah. That's a great idea with Too Strong. Yeah. Too Strong is in Indiana. So I'm trying to think of anybody that I wouldn't mind rolling with that deserved to roll with me. And see, the older you get, like I say, I like to brag on I'm 58. So the older you get, the more responsibilities. Everybody got kids, they got families, they got houses. I might just roll up there by myself, man. Get myself a hotel, do my reactions from the hotel, go out there and film a little bit, try to get as close as I can, but I don't think you can get into the if I'm planning on going up there, I know it's gonna be a slew of YouTubers that's already that live in the area. You know, big time YouTubers that got plenty of money that's already been put down on the hotels when the court case start. I want to reserve a hotel room for 2 weeks. Here's the credit card, boom, you know, that type of thing. So who knows, man? Is this thing, did it cut off or? Okay, I think they're just waiting. 1966 here to make strong changes. 1966? That's when I was born, 1966. Yeah. It's on break. Yeah. So there you have it, folks. They're gonna make a decision in a week. They're gonna make a decision in a week, man. So oh my goodness. But girlfriend was spilling the beans and she was crying. Oh my gracious. I talked to the lady who got shot in the face by Puffy, and she said J-Lo lied. She can't stand J-Lo. A lot of the Latinos don't they don't like Jennifer Lopez because she lied even about things she did in school and high school and stuff. You know, it's just so much information that's coming out, all allegedly. But the thing that kills me is 120 cases. There are other lawyers that got at least 5 or 6 cases that this guy's not even counting. So it's safe to say at least 130 cases, and they all talk so much alike. What about all the cases or all the people that's afraid to come forward? I know 2 people who are allegedly saying things that are not coming forward. 2 people. They just talking on YouTube. 3 people. You got her, 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗏 is one of them. And she named Denzel Washington. Couldn't believe it, man. She named Denzel Washington. So couldn't believe that at all. Let me see what if anything else is up here. Yo. Yeah. Let's see. I think Too Strong is live. Maybe he said to go somewhere. See, we got all this live stuff popping up. I don't know how all of a sudden I went down a live rabbit hole. Too Strong is live now. This my man right here.
To have a talk with you about whatever you want. Kind of. That's why I'm looking for echoing. Yeah, I was testing my mic. I found it now. All right, there we go. That was kind of weird. Why do that like that? Same thing as last time, I think, before we come on and we want to have a talk with everybody. Any questions, concerns? We are here to see what you all want to talk about. And we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's all on you. But I can jump it off. I don't know what I want to talk about. What you want to talk about, bro?
Nothing. I don't want to talk to nobody because I'm not a nice guy. Oh, how about Denzel?
Ooh.
Oh man.
How about that Denzel guy? Hey, y'all heard about Denzel, right? Y'all saw the video. I want to hear y'all thoughts on Denny.
Wow.
Did you know that? Did you know what some people are saying?
What?
You know?
Oh, that's not live. I'm tripping. Thank you, Tahir. That's a live. That's a recording of a live. See, I told y'all I'm learning. I tried to tell y'all. R. Kelly's brother? Wow. All right. Let's see what people are saying. Diddy's bail. Sky News is out there. Yeah. Ain't much going on, man. I think we're here ready to cover it though. All right, so what y'all want to talk about? How about that? Who want to talk about YouTube? Is anybody interested in doing a YouTube channel? We have a YouTube course to teach people. And one of the things I'm dying to teach people about is that our amazing. Oh, who's this right here? Let me see. Is P. Diddy evil? He's a devil. He killed Tupac and Biggie. I would hate. Hey, honey. Hello, everyone. Hey, y'all. I would. You're right, girl. You're supposed to be asleep. I would hate to believe that somebody can kill another human being just for the fame on this earth. I couldn't take another life. Couldn't do that. I couldn't take another life. Yeah, go to sleep, girl. I couldn't take another life, man. Just to put up the bill now. I'm going to share the link. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I couldn't do it, man. That's all I can say. I couldn't. I have to have a strong reason. I know we should do. We should go over the book a little bit. What y'all think? Let's talk about maybe we should, can we change the title? Honey, I always waiting your live, you know that. Yeah, you right about that, pretty girl. I read one page so far. Here's the thing. First, I had a cold, so I didn't want to really get into it, to try to get into it. But I read the first page and I was real shocked. Yeah. I was real shocked because I was in a play. I was the music director for a play, and I hired all the band members and everything to play the music for this play, and we did great. Everybody did great. The band members was great. The name of the play was A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. The name of the play was A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. And the play started getting a whole lot of recognition. This was way before Tyler Perry had did anything. Or maybe she got the idea of doing these plays because of Tyler Perry. But anyway, I always heard people say a wolf in sheep clothing, but I never understood what that meant. She used that term in this book. And on the first page,
All right, welcome back, everybody, to our special live coverage of the Sean Diddy Combs case. I'm Jesse Weber. Thank you so much for joining us and also for being so patient with us as we came back. So for the past 2 hours, we have been covering for you in real time about what has been happening in that federal courtroom. It was the issue of bail now being heard by Judge 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗏. This is the first time this judge has heard this issue after Sean Combs has been denied bail on 2 separate occasions. And it seems, based on the arguments put forward by the defense and also put by the prosecution, that he may be open to bail for Sean Combs. Now, clearly, as he said, this wouldn't be a situation where he'd be at home confinement in Miami, but it would have to be in New York. The defense talking about how strict these conditions would be, even said they're more stringent than what you see at the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, where Sean Combs is currently housed. You heard objections from the prosecution saying that he had been reaching out to witnesses and victims, that he had been engaging in obstruction, that he is a violent individual, that he is a danger to society. The judge heard both arguments and said he will make a decision early next week. The question becomes, will Sean Combs be home for Thanksgiving? That could be a realistic possibility here. And he also said that he wants letters from both sides on Monday about what Sean Combs is allowed to communicate and what he is not allowed to communicate with. Because the big issue was, is he allowed to present social media posts about his family, his life? There was a back and forth about whether or not he can, talk about, reverse the narrative for himself, or whether or not that is trying to improperly influence a potential jury pool. So you heard a lot of back and forth. Big theme was whether or not he should be allowed out, considering Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, who was also charged with sex trafficking and arrested recently, he was let out on a $10 million bail package. Sean Combs is proposing a $50 million bail package, private 24/7 security. At least 3 security guard members would be watching him. No internet use, no phone use, limited to his conversations with his attorneys, only a limited amount of visitors. So the judge is taking all of this under advisement, which seems to be a wise decision. And by all counts, we'll have a decision about Sean Combs' bail next week. Now, I want to bring in Elizabeth Milner from Law and Crime, our very own. She was in that courtroom for the hearing. She's outside of that federal courthouse right now. Elizabeth, good to see you. What did you see? What were your observations inside there?
Yeah, Jesse, a lot of interest in today's hearing for sure, especially with the whole debate on whether or not Sean Diddy Combs could actually go home, or at least be at home in time for Thanksgiving. I will say that I arrived to the courthouse around like 12:15 today. Not a lot of people out. So I thought we actually came here a lot early. So when I went inside the courthouse, I was actually surprised to see the amount of reporters that were already in line waiting to go inside that hearing. Now, I got inside the courthouse probably about 45 minutes before the hearing started, and probably at least 15 other journalists and lawyers were ahead of me in the line. So I was actually very lucky to get a seat today. Now, they actually moved the courtroom to a different location than it was on Tuesday's hearing. Again, that was an emergency hearing, but for this scheduled hearing that's been on the calendar for about a few weeks now, they had it actually at the top floor. So a lot more people were able to get inside that courtroom. And let me tell you, a lot of people were inside that courtroom in that hearing, even members of the public as well too. I feel like I saw some teenagers kind of wanting to know as well too what was going on inside that hearing. I think they also probably wanted to get a glimpse of Diddy as well too. But let me just kind of paint a picture to our viewers about what you kind of see when you walk inside that federal courtroom. So of course, when you first walk in, you're going to see the gallery. You're going to have a left-hand side or right-hand side. The left-hand side is for some of the defense attorneys, as well as members of Combs' family, other public interests. And on the other side, it's going to be some extra attorneys from the government side, as well as all of the reporters. And we were really kind of body to body inside that courtroom. Then when you kind of go outside of the gallery, then you have the defense table, then you have the prosecution's table, and then you have the judge obviously on the bench. So it's a little different from how when we normally cover trials, you have the defense on one side, you have the prosecution on another side. So a lot of us in the reporter side, we were kind of anxious to see if Diddy's kids were going to be at the hearing today. And they did. They arrived. They were in unison. They all came in holding hands together too. And Sean Combs' mother, Janice, was also in that courtroom too. But another person who I found particularly interesting to be inside that courtroom was LaWanda Lane. Now, she is the best friend of Kim Porter. And as we have been reporting on, she has been taking care of Sean Combs' twin daughters, Delilah and Jessie, while Combs has been locked up inside that federal detention center. But whenever they came in, it was kind of different from when all of the family had to come in during that October hearing, and that it went silent. That wasn't necessarily the case. A lot of people were kind of whispering and talking a little bit back and forth and inside the gallery. Then they all came in. Again, they were all holding hands. They all sat down beside each other. And then, of course, court proceeded and everything like that. I was expecting some moments of like maybe some tearing up, because remember, and I'm sure you've already told our viewers this, when they were kind of discussing the freak off themselves, the assault video that was released by CNN earlier this year, as well as just some of Diddy's conduct, or alleged conduct, I should say. I can imagine, just being 17 years old, I'm specifically talking about Jesse and Delilah Combs because they are still underage here, that it can be hard to listen to your father's alleged conduct and just hearing just kind of the inner details of what all is going on. Obviously, it's been making the news everywhere. It's not really a secret, but at the same time, to be inside a courtroom for 2 hours and kind of listening to your father's conduct, I can imagine to be hard. But from my side and from what I saw, I didn't see much of an emotional reaction or anything like that as far as it coming from Diddy's children. And so they pretty much kind of stayed forward.
They used to it.
Kept
That's
their
why.
eyes on what the judge was saying, what the defense was saying, obviously what the government was saying when they were making their arguments. So I didn't see any type of actual emotion whenever they were making their arguments. But again, I can only imagine what may have been going on in their head as well too. But it's also significant that they were in the courtroom because, as I mentioned on Tuesday, they weren't here on Tuesday, and it was probably likely because it was an emergency hearing. I'm sure flying all the way out from Los Angeles or possibly Miami can be a lot to do in the matter of just getting 24 or 12-hour notice. And so, it wasn't very surprising that they were all inside the courtroom. But again, it's significant too because the government alleges that they are all doing this as kind of like a PR stunt and kind of in a way to sway the jury into making them seem like a unified family. I mean, we've seen this before in trials, and I want to kind of make a clear distinction on the comparison I'm about to make here. I mean, we've seen this before in trials, and I'm talking specifically about the Alex Murdaugh trial, where, Alex Murdaugh's family came inside that courtroom as well too. So it wasn't very surprising that he had his family there to kind of back him up. But I will say, just like on Tuesday, whenever Diddy did come into the courtroom and how he beamed and how he looked at every single person in the gallery, it wasn't like that this time. So when he came inside, it was still in that khaki jumpsuit. He, again, looks kind of grayish, a little bit like that, a little thin. But at the same time, being in jail or a federal detention center for the past 2 months, obviously that's going to kind of wear and tear on anybody, including somebody like Sean Diddy Combs. But as soon as he came inside that courtroom today, he beamed up immediately, looking straight at his family. And that was pretty much the only people he kept eye contact with outside of his attorneys. So he looked immediately at his family. He blew kisses to them all, kind of like a little like "I love you" mouthing of the words type of thing. And even before the judge got on the bench, he turned to them once again too, to kind of just mouth a little like it felt like he was just happy to see them, I should say. And then of course when he sat
clean up a
at
little
the
bit.
defense table, he hugged every single one of his attorneys. But again, like I said Tuesday, Diddy knows that a lot of eyes are on him at this time. So there's not going to be a moment where we don't see what we expect to see of Sean Diddy Combs, if that makes sense. We're going to see somebody who's not going to appear defeated. We're going to see somebody who is going to appear with smiles. So that way, I think he's also kind of signaling to the world that he's okay in a way, but at the same time, maybe reassuring his family, especially his daughters, who, again, the twins, Jesse and Delilah, are just 17. Chance just turned 18, but with the exception of his youngest daughter, who is 2-year-old baby Love, who is probably with her mom over in California, I would assume, but I just don't want to speculate there. But of course, when there wasn't a decision made, everyone was kind of ushered and rushed out of the courtroom. So I didn't get that last glance of maybe a last blown kiss to his family or to his mother or anything like that. But at the same time, excuse me, that's pretty much what we can expect from Sean Combs.
Let me ask you this, Elizabeth, and that was a great recap of what you're our eyes and ears. We don't have cameras in that courtroom. Unfortunately, we're not going to have cameras in that courtroom. So you are our best eyes and ears about what is happening there. I broke down the legal arguments and what was said between the prosecution and the defense and Judge Subramanian. From Judge Subramanian, though, his demeanor, the way he was asking these questions to the prosecution, did it seem to you like he was skeptical of the prosecution's arguments? Did it seem like he was pushing them a little bit more? The reason we're asking is, does he seem open to Sean Combs getting bail? I know he's reserved judgment, but there's one thing to report on what he was said. There's another thing, you got a glimpse of the way he was asking the questions. What's your take on that?
I think it kind of stems back to, with this case, you really have to dot your I's and cross your T's. I think he was asking both sides very important questions. When he was specifically talking to the government, I think he was trying to also make it clear, it did feel like he was open to it. To answer your question, it did feel that way. I was actually kind of surprised by that aspect as well, too, because, going in, and I shouldn't have made that assumption in the first place. I was like, no way could this ever happen. But at the end of these arguments, I'm like, maybe it's possible that this could actually happen. I think it was kind of interesting with that moment where, Mark Agnifilo mentioned his home in Miami, and Judge Submarinian was like, oh, okay, absolutely not. And then they suggested that apartment on the Upper East Side. But as far as the government's kind of arguments that they were making, it seemed like the judge really just kind of wanted to press to make sure that they were crossing all their T's and dotting all of their I's. And I kind of have to give him credit a little bit here, because I think sometimes in the court cases that we do cover, we see that a judge can side with one particular side as opposed to the other. But I feel like for both sides, he was kind of playing it fair on both ends, kind of making sure that he was that both sides were explaining everything that he needed to know before he makes his final decision next week.
And we will see what that decision will be. Elizabeth Milner, thank you so much for going in there. Thank you so much for reporting to us. And I know it's a rainy, cold day in New York, so really appreciate you taking the time. Elizabeth Milner, everybody, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, before I let everybody go, I have a special announcement for you. I mentioned it before, I'm going to mention it again. If you are looking for a deep dive on the Sean Diddy Combs case, a 360-degree picture of what is happening, you need to be subscribed to Wondery Plus, because there, Law and Crime is launching a
One of the things that I really think that
I am hosting it, so a little self-promotion.
the judge did, well, everybody want to be a little different, right? And I think what he did was actually said, you know what, I'm not going to make a decision right this second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a little while longer. That way, I can really think about it and put my 2 cents in it and do some researching and everything. And then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. And I think that you gotta look at the other two judges and ask, why did they deny bail, both of them? You gotta look at that. You gotta look at that. You gotta look at all these allegations. You gotta look at that. I don't care. You can't not see him. I don't care who you are, judge, jury, grand jury. You can't not see what he did to Cassidy. You cannot not see all the stuff she written in her lawsuit. All this stuff going around on YouTube. You cannot not see that. Need to pound it for a while. You definitely need to. Untrouble and going right back in. Yeah, he's gonna get in trouble and go right back in. I think it's a bad idea to let him out. I mean, he doing wrong in jail. He got people making up his bed. He already making deals. He puffy. Dude, what can you do? Man, I run this side of the jail. What can you do for me? I got your back. Yeah, Playboy. He always say, he like to call everybody Playboy. Look here, Playboy, look here, I straighten you up, man. Got some people on the outside, man. I want you to help hook up. No problem, Playboy, I got you. I think it's a bad idea to let him out, man. Here's another thing that I wanted to say before we get to the book. One of the things I think society in politics, human trafficking, sex trafficking, and all this stuff is at our forefront. They need to find a way to bring it down some. And the way they're gonna bring it down would be, okay, I'm watching what you're doing to here, and I agree so far. They need a way to bring it down. They need somebody to blame. They need an evil person to say he was in charge of human trafficking. We caught him, put him in jail. He will be punished. Who knew that it was going to be this big person? And the reason why they point the finger at him is because he is the one, allegedly, that went against these liquor companies. And I never looked at it like this until later on. These liquor companies, man, got billionaires that want to stay I can't imagine being a billionaire. They got billionaires that's sitting on their board. And they said, excuse me, you gonna sue us and call us racist? We're not racist. It's just that your people like to drink our liquor. The majority of our liquor sales is through y'all people. We didn't make the rules. We just made a product and they like it. We asked you to market it to them. And you gonna call us racist? Oh, nah. We got something for you. We're gonna show you exactly how powerful we are. So they called their friends up in the Homeland Security and everything. And they didn't have to look too deep into what he's doing. They probably knew what he was doing. Hell, some of them probably went to the parties. And they probably went in there and told the FBI, make sure you get these from this date to this date, get them tapes and bring them to me, but you can keep all the rest of them. Yes, sir. And they went and did their thing, man. I can make a movie for this stuff, man. I know I can make a movie from this stuff. And Puffy looked like, did you see the look on his face when they first started showing Puffy after they raided his house? And this another thing I think that happened. And all this is allegedly. I got to keep saying allegedly. Once they raided his house and took everything and making all this big deal, he probably making his phone calls to the higher ups that got pulled, who said, oh, Puffy, don't worry about it. This is we're going to handle this. You know, we're going to sweep it under the rug. You're going to be disembarrassed. It's going to be a spank on this going out to Allen. Enjoy yourself. Start doing pictures. It's going to be a type of thing just like the Will Smith smack. Will Smith done smacked this thing. Yeah, he stepped on the wrong toes. So what happened was, like Will Smith smacked, and now all of a sudden it's going to be high for a little while. Everybody going to talk about it. Then we're going to sweep it under the rug. Then all of a sudden, oh, that's what you think? That's what you think? So we lied to him. You got people, checkmate. You got people lying to him, making them feel comfortable. And this is their job to lie to him, make him feel comfortable. Then all of a sudden this Cassie hotel video leaks out. What the heck was that, man? Who put that out? Find out who did that. Find out who did that, Puffy. And you just go back and tell him, don't worry about it again. Don't worry about it. Tell him we're going to sweep it under the rug. Tell him all that bull while we still setting them up. We setting them up real hard. So now whoever is not on the setup team, but they on the legal team, now we building a case in the public's eye. Oh, yeah. And then once Puffy went to jail, when he took that jet to New York and was talking about he gonna turn himself in after he walked around, visit all the old neighborhood, taking pictures with people, looking at parks and everything, just getting his mind right. He walking back into the hotel, and that's when they picked him up. He was there for a couple of hours, man, beforehand. So they picked him up. Next thing you know, now it's going to be real to him. It's about to be real. The first time he went for bail, he didn't make bail. What? is real, real. So then he started realizing this guy that's told me that don't worry about it, it's like the Will Smith smack, they're gonna sweep it under the rug. He realized this dude could be on their side because he just telling me this stuff so I can lay back. No, I got to pull out my real punches. I got to pull out everybody that I got on them tapes and say, yo, man, it's about to get real and we all need to do something. I need y'all help. And only one person came forward and said, Diddy ain't like that. He making all these. I'm going to be the first one to speak on Diddy's behalf. So when he do get out, he going to bless me. They told that dude to shut up so fast. And he was like, dang, ain't nobody else. I was going to be the first. So somebody else will pull up. Somebody else will pull up. Nobody pulled up. Nobody pulled up. Nobody pulled up. LeBron James hadn't said anything. Even Will Smith hadn't said anything. You know you in trouble. Oh, my gracious, man. I don't know what to say, dog. I really don't know what to say. Only thing I'm mad over is we all waiting for anything, and we gotta wait until Monday or Tuesday for a decision. Which way this thing is gonna swing, man? I have no idea. I have no idea which way this is gonna swing. Oh, what about the book? Y'all want to hear something about the book? 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. I feel as though, and we still debating on this. I don't want to read it word for word in a video because I'm not the best friends with I'm gonna call him lowercase c. That's what I call him. I'm not good friends with lowercase c in his writer. So back to the wolf in sheep clothing, man. I always talk about a wolf in sheep clothing. And those let's pray. Yeah, let's pray. And she used those words in this book. She said he was a charming wolf in sheep clothing, a devil, and I felt it. This story must be told despite the fact it will hurt my children. I cannot hide it any longer. Sean Combs must be stopped. And that's where I left off at. So now I'm on page 4. This is number 4 right here. This is chapter 2. We got chapter 2 already. So chapter 1 in this book, just to let y'all know, it's an introduction. Chapter 1 is only 1 page long, which is page 3. So now we're on chapter 2. So we got to do the next video for chapter 2. And I was not going to read the book and all that good stuff because the only reason why I am reading the book, because I promised the lady Latanya that got shot in the face, she told me read the book, because I heard so many different things of the book. Just to let y'all know, the book is only 59 pages. The exact last page is 59, and that page 59 does not have a lot of info on it. As I sit here waiting for the ambulance, I am writing this chapter and praying that I make it to the hospital. I don't feel like writing anymore. I may not be around to see this in print. It's okay. I'm sending it out. He won't get away with this. I think these are not the words of somebody that's about to die. Yeah, my kids has always been my most passionate. I want the world to know, but more importantly, I want them to know. The end. More importantly, I want them to know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and actually read it. Get some Vicks Vapor Rub. Vapor Rub for your chest, back, and feet. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. But I think I'm gonna get on up out of here. I don't know. Now it's 10 people watching. What's going on? So Kim Law's words. Let's discuss the book. I'm thinking of ideas and titles to do on a live stream that I think that would attract a lot of people, but not something unique that we can do, and then get some people to join in that may want to come on the live stream. So I've been checking out live streams and stuff. So man, I should go. Well, anyway, thank y'all so much for coming through. How long we've been streaming for a minute, right? 110 minutes ago. P. Diddy, it's sex. P. Diddy is sex. What's going on? The Kim Porter book. The conclusion of this video basically is he wasn't denied bail. The judge said that he gonna wait to the beginning of next week. That could be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I guess that's the beginning. To make a decision. So we sitting back waiting. Meanwhile, between time, Diddy is going back to his cell doing all kinds of stuff, man. So I'm thinking that it was a good decision to, we're here in jail. Let me just think on it and make some phone calls and stuff. I don't think they're going to let him out, man. I really don't think they're going to let him out. I think somebody is telling this judge, Your Honor, there's something on them tapes. Trust me, he shouldn't be let out. If you see what's on the tapes, maybe the judge see. I wonder if the judge seeing anything that's on them tapes, anything. This is the part that pissed me off as citizens. Do y'all think the judge actually get to see anything that's on the tape? He's the judge. Do y'all think the judge actually get to see anything? I don't know. And do you think that when they find something bad on the tapes, do you think they show it to Diddy? Look, we found this on your tapes. And he like, oh yeah, I remember that day, man. Things was crazy, dog. These are the things that go through my mind, man, when I'm thinking about this stuff. And that girl, all the stuff that girl is saying about these people. Oh my gracious, man, that's crazy. Anyway, peace out, man. I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Love, peace, and hair grease. Peace and love to the next live stream. We're gonna try to pick some days to guarantee to rock on, like Friday nights. That would be cool. Yeah. Peace out, y'all.